Why, hello. Welcome on in. Coffee with Brodes. It's a new week. It's baseball week. Thursday. Spring training's over. Thursday, we got opening day. Woo, 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 woo. It's almost time. Spring training, we're inching our way to the opening day. And I can't wait. We got Sixers basketball tomorrow. Flyers hockey tonight. They play the Buffalo Sabres. They actually did find a way to beat the Rangers on Saturday afternoon. Phil Myers with a big clap bomb. But the storylines this week would be Philadelphia Eagles with the trade down. And I support it completely. And the acquisition of George Hill. What's going on, everyone? Welcome. As the chat is buzzing. What is going on? How was everyone's weekend? Good morning, Evan. Are you confident the Flyers pull these next two out against Buffalo? No, I am not confident of the Flyers coming out and beating Buffalo. Absolutely not. Do you think that George Hill will take Seth's spot in the starting five going into the playoffs? I think anything is possible. I am pretty firm saying that every time they're healthy, when everyone's healthy, they have stayed with the same starting five. But Daryl Morey's comments about defense and not wanting to have that liability issue keeps going into my mind. And I wonder, after watching what happened to the Brooklyn Nets, what happened to Seth Curry against the Los Angeles Clippers, are you going to see a situation where they are now thinking, hey, we might have to go with this different philosophy here because of the issues? By the way, as we are entering the show here, let's all enjoy our first sips together. Correct. So I got the Timmy Hortons going. Timmy Hortons, black cup of coffee. Cheers to everyone. Thank you for joining me this morning. And I'm excited to share the next 57 minutes with you talking sports. So cheers. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. All right, so Brodes, can you please not watch the Flyers tonight? I saw your tweet on Saturday. They won. Just don't watch. Yeah, so Saturday was the first Flyers game all year that I did not get an opportunity to sit down and fully watch. I was a little busy during the afternoon. So it was the first game I did not get to watch, and here we are seeing them score and win a hockey game late. So maybe, positive Philly, we should go with this philosophy of don't watch the game, and they actually might win. Chris Sheehan said Eagles getting Waddle or Parsons. See, that's the one thing. There's mock drafts that have Devontae Smith falling in that range. There's a mock draft where you can get Jaylen Waddle at 12. Everyone's all worried because you can't get Jamar Chase, you can't get Pitts, you can't get that offensive weapon. What if I told you get Devontae Smith and you still get that first-round pick next year? Now, there's a chance you don't. I'm not saying it's automatic, but I'm just saying, like Waddle, let's say Waddle is available. You can get that wide receiver and get that first-round pick where you're still getting that explosive weapon that can help you out. So I do think that there's this overreaction as if there's no one that you can get at 12. You are still getting a talent. Well, Howie's going to mess it up. All right. I mean, the thing is, take away who's drafting what franchise it is. This is step one of a 5-step process here of rebuilding. Step one is acquiring as many assets as you possibly can. And this isn't just some foolish asset. They didn't trade down to go get a third-round pick. They didn't trade down to go get an extra third-round pick. They got a first-round pick. A first-round pick. People don't like it because the move was Howie Roseman. The move was a good move. Regardless who the GM is, this is a good move. It's a good football move. Regardless who did it. If Daryl Morey, honestly, Daryl Morey just went and got George Hill. Like, realistically, we trust Daryl Morey, but at the end of the day, it was an underwhelming trade deadline. But everyone trusts Daryl Morey. The move was all around underwhelming. Good move, but underwhelming. It's very similar to Golden Tate for a third, in my opinion. It's a move that helps out the team, but it's my point is, it's crazy that it's the person that made the move that's getting judged more so than the actual move itself. When one guy makes a underwhelming move, but you like the guy, it's a great move. When a guy makes a great move, but you hate the guy, it's a terrible trade. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Yeah, but at the time, like Golden Tate you went out and needed help. You needed help at wide receiver. You went out and got a wide receiver. No one was bitching and complaining at the time that Golden Tate stunk. Nobody was. You were upset that they couldn't find a way to figure him out in your offense. You couldn't find a way to get a slot receiver going in the offense. But that's not a problem with Howie. That's a Doug Peterson issue. And who else came out? Mike Gross said that. So there's a huge difference. And this was Golden Tate of a couple of years ago. We got a $5 donation coming in from Just Call Me Flair. People forget that if Kyle Pitts drops to 9, we can trade up from 12 to get him. Even if we stay at 12, there's a lot of talent at that spot. I don't think that they're moving back up to go get Kyle Pitts. I think that's more of a reach. And I don't think Kyle Pitts is going to fall that far at this point. He's that guy. Every year there's a guy where they get boosted up. And during the draft talks, they get moved up and everyone thinks about, oh, we should go get him. We should go get him. And Kyle Pitts is that guy where his draft stock just went up before the draft happened. And so I don't think he's falling that far. Anything is possible, of course, but I don't think that they are going to remake a move back up just to go get Kyle Pitts. I think they have a plan. I think their blueprint, they're somewhat showing their blueprint here of what they want to do. And what they're trying to do is rebuild this thing and trying to, because like the move up from 12 to 9, you're going to have to make, it's not going to cost you a 4th round pick. It's going to take something. And I don't think that the Eagles are going to want to make that move because there's a reason why they traded down to begin with. I think they have this blueprint. It's either, there's two things that they're doing here. And I kind of support both of them, to be honest with you. Move one is they need young talent, and they're going to rebuild this thing with as many high draft picks as they possibly can. And move two would be they're going to try and package this up and do a Carson Wentz type trade to go get themselves a quarterback. Thank you so much, Flair, for the $5, by the way. Thank you so much. Yeah, I would say that it would be like, hey, let's package up and go get a quarterback. And they did it with Carson Wentz, and they can do it again if they feel like Jalen Hurts is not the guy after this season. So if they see Hurts for a year and they think, all right, we saw 4 games a year ago, we saw a full season of Jalen Hurts, we're not sold. We're going to package up our 2 firsts and our 2 seconds, or our 3 firsts and our second, and we're going to try and find a way to get up and get the hottest quarterback in that year's draft. Every year, you'll find your Zach Wilsons, you'll find your guy, like Trevor Lawrence is 1 in a million, but you'll find your guy. Carson Wentz was that guy, and he ended up being okay before the disaster that went down. So I support the logic for both of those. People are overreacting because of the person that made the move, not actually the move itself. A $2 donation coming in from Chris Sheehan. Waddle and his crazy speed. If we get him, look out. Yeah, look, he was injured, and I think that played a big role on where we view him and how he is being looked at. And I'm not saying that there's not other wide receivers that are better than him, because of course there are, but I do think that the injury at Alabama definitely played a role in how he is viewed at this point. And it's funny that Jamar Chase takes off a whole season, and that's a little different in terms of how he is viewed. But it's like a similar mentality of you haven't seen him play, but Jamar Chase is still getting the hype. Jaylen Waddle, I think, lost a little bit of hype based off of the injury. And I guess injury is a little bit different than just sitting out due to COVID-19 problems. But yeah, Waddle's a baller. And if you get Jaylen Waddle, and you get that extra first-round pick, you got that playmaker that you're still looking for. I'm not saying he's Jamar Chase, but you still get a damn good playmaker at 12. You can get great talent at 12. You can get great talent at 12. I can't wait to talk about this more. I'm actually planning on doing another podcast about the Howie Roseman stuff, the draft picks, the trade down. I have a bunch of hotline calls, anytime hotline calls that were called in the day of the pick, the day of the trade that I want to utilize. So I'm definitely planning on recording another podcast and talking about this more because it's one of the most fascinating things in the world. You know, there's actually a good move made by the franchise, but people hate it because of who made the move, but it's a good move. Howie got one more season to fix the franchise. Can he fix it? See, I don't think he has one more season. How can you demand any general manager to fix this in one season? It's just not a reality. So if you're saying that Howie Roseman is the one that gets the opportunity to fix it, which it's clear that Jeffrey Lurie is saying that, or else he wouldn't be here, you would have to imagine that there's more than 1 year on the table. The way I see it is there's 20 draft picks in the next 2 years. I would say he's got 2 years to fix it, but 2 years to draft to fix it, and then you got to figure out what they are. No one knows what a draft class is 1 year. No one expects one draft class, but there has to be one there has to be some sort of promise shown within the next 20 draft picks or 2 years, however you want to look at it, because it's not going to be 20 picks. They're going to move up in the fourth, move up in the third. They're going to package things together and bounce around to try and grab a certain individual in a certain round. But I would imagine in the next 2 years with these 20 picks, he's going to somewhat have that opportunity to fix it. And from there, that's where the Howie Roseman tenure either lives or dies. Well, would I? No. Would Jeffrey Lurie? Well, that's a different conversation. It's a different conversation. Where are we here? I would still fire Howie, not because of the move. Yeah, I'm not claiming Howie Roseman has done a good job to this point, but I'm saying based off of the circumstances, we understand that Howie Roseman's here. We know that Howie Roseman's here. And one of the conversations I'm going to pop into the pod is the fact that people would rather have the Eagles suck so Howie Roseman can be fired rather than Howie Roseman actually do a good job and the Eagles be saved, because that would mean they were wrong and Howie Roseman would actually be decent at his job. Why would you rather this team suffer so one man can be wrong, so you now have to go fix that hole and find someone who is good that isn't promised on the first hire, instead of having someone who is already in the building actually turn out not being as much of a disaster as everybody thinks? Why would you rather it go the other way? So I think that's going to be an exciting conversation to throw into the podcast that I'm going to be doing. Hey, what's up, Pat? What's going on, man? Checking in from Myrtle, watching with your father. What's going on, guys? How are you? How about Robbie getting his 100th game? I sure saw that coming. Just kidding. But hope everything's well, man. What's my thoughts on Seth Curry? With Seth Curry, I think that he's a great shooter. He spaces the floor. And I think that he's a streaky shooter, right? That's what he is. He's a streaky shooter, but when he's hot, he's on fire, and when he's cold, he's cold. Welcome to the NBA, and welcome to becoming a shooter in the NBA. That's what it is. It'll be very interesting to see the dynamic that they pull out when it comes to playoffs, George Hill, and the thing that's keep getting drilled into my brain is the fact that Daryl Morey said, I don't want to have any defensive liabilities out there. Is that going to change the way that they do things? It's so hard for me to think that they are going to automatically, but I think that that's an adjustment that's on the table. Maybe 1-2 adjustments down the road is George Hill in for Seth Curry, so then you don't have as much defensive liability. You're losing about – Seth Curry shoots 42% from three. George Hill shoots 38% from three, so you're losing a little bit of a percentage, but you're gaining an off-the-ball / on-the-ball type of guard, and you're gaining someone who can defend as well. Is that going to be a thing that they value? Positive Philly with a $2 donation. Brodes, you should get into soccer and support the union. So I'm new into soccer. This is my first year taking off, really. I follow the Premier League most of the time. This is my first year. I haven't really tuned that much deeply into it. I try watching the Union, and I don't want to sound disrespectful at all, but the way that I see the English Premier League played, and then when I watch a Union game, I just see so much of a drop-off that it's so hard for me to get into the Union. And I don't want to sound disrespectful, but it's almost like I'm watching the Phantoms play instead of the Flyers. Or it's like I'm watching the Iron Pigs play instead of the Phillies. And I just don't know if I'm going to get into soccer as a very casual fan that I am. If I'm not watching the highest level of it, I find it hard to really dive deep into it. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. But thank you so much for the $2 donation. And back with the Seth Curry thing. One of the issues that I'm trying to figure out here is the bench. Because let's say they keep their starting five the same. So it's Ben, Seth, Danny, Tobias, and Embiid as your five. George Hill is your sixth. You're going to have Dwight Howard off the bench. You're going to have Matisse Thybulle off the bench. That's 8. Shake Milton. That's 9. No one goes 9 deep in the playoffs. Matisse Thybulle is going to be playing. What are you going to do with your bench? What are you going to do with your bench? I don't know. Right? I just don't know. There's going to be somebody that is left out. Maybe it depends on the matchup. Maybe it depends on the game. But yeah, and let's say George Hill is in the lineup. Okay, well, that means Seth Curry's off the bench. So Seth Curry, Dwight Howard, Matisse Thybulle. Is Shake Milton a guy who might not actually play at some points? I don't know. It sounds a little crazy, doesn't it? You got the coffee today, Brodes? yeah. Do I have the coffee today? Oh, man. What a statement. What a question, I guess. What a question. Of course I got the coffee. Oh, man. It's just a beautiful thing to take a fat sip of Joe in the morning. It really is. Tyler's listening from work. Well, that's fantastic. We got a $10 donation coming in from Alec Pags. Thoughts on Moran playing this weekend? Well, yeah, he definitely had a good weekend. He showed some energy. I think the team was buzzing a little bit based off of his energy. I was someone that didn't really love the fight the night that they lost to the Rangers because they lost 8-3, and he took stupid penalty earlier in the game, and he thought he was tough. You got to play the line. You got to know the line. And I know he's trying to bring the energy and bring that force, but you can't go too overboard to give the Rangers a power play that they can cash in on. So then after that, he wants to punch Lemieux in the face, and I felt like, dude, you guys are losing 8-3. I don't care about a fight. Go play better fucking hockey. That's the way I felt about things. And then he returns with a great game again, and he ended up performing and scoring the game-winning goal. So I would say that there seems to be a little bit of buzz going because of his play. But here's my fear. This is just a very, very minor energy rush. What happened when Oscar Lindblom fought that one day? Joel Farabee had a really great shift afterwards. The team scored on a 2-on-1, and then the next period, they were who they were again. Yes, Sam Moran scored a goal, and that's fantastic, and there is this cool storyline behind a guy who was drafted so high, had so many injuries, switched to forward, came back to defense, scored a goal. That's awesome. Is this really a fix to the problem, or is this a, hey, they might play a good game against the Rangers, and they might play a good game against the Buffalo Sabres, who blow, but once you get back into the thick of things here, it dies out? That's my question. Thank you so much, Pags, for the $10. I really do appreciate it. Brodes, will we see you on 97.5 this weekend again? Yeah, so let me look here. I have it written down. I did Saturday, Sunday this past weekend, and there's so much time until then, and I'll make sure that I remind everybody. But next Saturday from 6 to 8 p.m., I'm on the Fanatic, and from 4 to 7 on Sunday, which is Easter weekend, I am on 97.5, the Fanatic. So make sure you guys are tuning in. We had really good shows yesterday and Saturday. We had on Ricky Bowe on Saturday, and we had on Mark Zumoff yesterday. So some really great stuff out of those two, and just really fun couple of days there. We talked a lot about everything that's happening. Odds the Phillies have a winning season this year. I think the odds are high for that. I think they are having a winning season this year. I do. I think it's time. Now, the over-under was set at 80.5. It started to climb up as people bet the over. But I do think it's finally the year. In this very extremely competitive division, I think you have a spot to actually go over 500 for the first time in 3 billion years. So here's my problem. I know people are talking about the Phillies right now. The chat's going a little bit on the Phils. I am a little concerned about this one lefty in the bullpen. I would have to imagine that Dave Dombrowski realizes that, and he's someone that I trust in terms of building a roster that makes sense. But Bob from Crossing Broad actually, I spelled his name wrong. Bob from Crossing Broad, who covers the Phillies, actually put out a pretty interesting tweet about some of the right-handed pitchers that have good stats against left-handed hitters. And is that one of the reasons why they elected to go with one lefty out of the pen in Alvarado instead of maybe keeping a Tony Watson or JoJo Romero was the one that they decided to not go with for this season? He'll probably be up eventually, though. Let's be realistic. I don't think that it's like a long-term thing forever, but so one left-handed pitcher out of the bullpen as we speak. Connor Brogdon held left-handed hitters to 133 and a 5.21 OPS last year. Not as big of a sample size as I'm looking for, but in the minors in 2019, Brogdon held left-handed hitters to 140 batting average and a 4.47 OPS. Kinsler also notably better splits against lefties throughout his career. So is it possible that you are seeing a situation where you feel comfortable with your right-handed pitching going up against lefties? I don't. But maybe they do that. Bob Wankel's the man, was actually my English teacher. Bobby Wanks is awesome. I'm a big fan of Bob Wankel. We had him on a lot when I was on 97.3 with Mike Gill. He does a fantastic job covering the Phillies. And yeah, I do. He also coaches baseball as well. But yeah, if you don't follow his Philly stuff, he does a tremendous job over at Crossing Broad. Good question, Christian. I forgot to make a statement. So, Open Ice hits did not drop today. We didn't record for today. They come out Mondays and Thursdays, but we had a little bit of an issue. So today's episode of Open Ice Hits is not going to be there. We're just going to drop one on Thursday and release one on Thursday. I did forget to make that statement. So, yeah, normally Open Ice Hits, our NHL pod, does drop Monday mornings, but we are taking the one episode off today. Yeah, Open Ice Hits is on YouTube. It's on my Sports Talk with Brodes page, and it's also has its own Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you find your podcasting platforms, you can find Open Ice Hits. If you search Brodes Media, you will find all of my podcasts that I have. So, this morning on Get Up, ESPN was debating if the Eagles should trade for Russell Wilson with the amount of picks. Would you make that move? That is a very Get Up conversation. Has that been speculated? Yeah. I just, at his age, if I'm Russell Wilson, the Philadelphia Eagles, I feel like I find my way to stay in Seattle instead of making that type of trade. And would Seattle even want to get rid of Russell Wilson right now? I think it's way too far of a reach, more so than it is a reality, to sit here and have that conversation. Would I make the phone call to say, hey, what would it take for Russell Wilson? Yeah, to do your due diligence, to just make a phone call and just see, hey, what's going on? I wouldn't rule that out. But in terms of, hey, let's really dissect how deep this can go, I don't think it's that strong to really have that much passion in that type of discussion. Deshaun Watson, though, different circumstance, although you need to wait for the drama to settle, if you will. Drama is the wrong word, but the court stuff to be figured out. What pick? Okay. Brodes, defense or offense for the 12th pick? Either or, you can go out and get your cornerback at 12. There is talent there. Maybe Farley's in the mix. Or you can go out and I don't know if Surtain is going to be there. The problem is the Cowboys are drafting 2 in front of you. It goes Cowboys, Giants, Eagles. And there's a chance that they take Surtain if Surtain ends up falling to that level. But Caleb Farley is a name that I know is in the mix there. There's some. Let's look at some Eagles mock drafts. I haven't really looked at any mock drafts since the actual trade went down. I only looked at the 5,000 versions prior to, and I'm not even a big mock draft guy, to be honest with you, because I think there's so mock draft version 2,586. Like they end up doing it so much that at what point is it, all right, let's relax. I'm trying to think. Okay, I don't know what this mock draft is even saying, and that is just pathetic. But let's see what some of the hypotheticals are here for some of the mocks. Waddle or Smith. I've seen the ones where Waddle and Smith are available. And if you're telling me they pick a wide receiver at 12, whether it's either one of those two, I am extremely excited about that. Here's a mock draft that have them taking Horn out of South Carolina, a corner. I would be okay with the corner. They definitely need help in that area. And then they go out and get Bateman, wide receiver from Minnesota, in that in this mock draft, they have the Eagles trading up to go get a wide receiver after making that pick in the first round. They have them moving back into the first round at 23rd overall to grab Bateman, if I am reading this correctly. And if they do something like that where they get a corner and a wide receiver, bang, bang, yeah, I'm totally cool with that. I would be okay with defense or offense in that area. Absolutely. I do believe the Cowboys are going to take Surtain. Yeah, there is a chance that happens. There is a chance that happens. But let's be realistic. If the Eagles got Jamar Chase at 6 and the Cowboys got Surtain at their pick at 10, there wouldn't be that much of a reaction. If the Eagles trade down and then Surtain ends up getting picked by the Cowboys, it's like, oh, you missed out on Surtain. Well, guess what? If they stayed put like maybe some people wanted them to, the Cowboys were still going to get that same player anyway if the Eagles didn't select them. So it wouldn't have changed anything, but the narrative would change, of course, because everyone doesn't like the GM that would have made the move that had them going in the other direction. If the Eagles draft Devontae Smith at 12, Howie would be forgiven a little bit. I think it's going to be funny when next draft comes around. When next draft comes around and they have all this draft capital and people are excited, it's hold on a second. Now you're excited about it. The problem is you don't see it right now. It's not in your hands. It's something like, hey, we're going to give you something down the road. You're going to get this later on. So it's not sexy. It's not right now. It's give me it right now. Everything's right now. Oh, you drafted a player. He better be a stud right now. Well, not everyone's a stud right now. It takes time. No one's patient. And this is something where rebuilding is patience. It takes a little bit of time. It's not going to take as long as people think. Why? Because you do trades like this. I don't hate Roseman, but he can't draft. He can trade and do money. Well, trading and do money is a significant part of being a good general manager. That's 2 of 3 important pieces. Now, if you have 2 of 3 and you get help with that third that you don't have the best ability doing, you're not in a bad spot, right? If you have 2 of 3 very important pieces of a job covered, it's very possible to still get help and add to that drafting part of the job while doing the other things at an excellent rate. Just saying. Just saying. I don't hate Roseman either. I don't love him. I definitely don't love him. I'm okay with a new, fresh voice. I think there needs to be this new identity, this new, fresh, somewhat face of Philadelphia Eagles football. That does need to happen, I feel. But I know it's not right now. So I guess my thing is, while everyone screams it has to happen, I'm aware it's not going to happen. So how do we assess this with this not happening? Because it's not happening. So instead of screaming it needs to happen, it's not happening. So what now? Now that we know it's not happening, what now? You look like a Sacramento Kings fan today. Well, what else is purple? The LA Kings with their purple and yellow jerseys. What other teams have a little purple in them? Purple is a good color for sure. People are overreacting. This class is stacked, and the player we're getting at 12 would be top 5 in a lot of other drafts. Every year, there's going to be talent anywhere, right? Every year, there's talent. You're still picking at a reasonable rate. You're not picking at 28th. You're not picking at 29th. You're not picking 30th. You're picking 12. Yeah, there's a difference in not being able to screw up as much. There's a little bit more room to maybe reach, to maybe try and do too much. At 12, that is obviously on the table compared to 6, where it was almost inevitable that you can't mess up. There is more of a room to, but there's still unbelievable talent in that area. And I went through this list before of Fletcher Cox, Marshawn Lynch, Deshaun Watson. There's talent at 12. There is serious talent at 12. Thoughts on Sutter's comments about Johnny Hockey's 500th game? Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting. Hope it's a lot better than 499. We'll have Johnny on to talk about his 500th game. It's a shame it didn't work out where we could have had him on for today's show and all, but yeah, sadly we did have to cancel the recording, and we'll figure something out. It wasn't a scheduling problem on his fault. It was more of something I had to do that kind of messed up everything. So we just kind of pushed it back for Thursday. 48 degrees for opening day. Perfect baseball weather. Guess what? I don't care if they're playing when it's freezing cold, windy. I don't care. Just give me baseball. I don't care what the weather is going to be. If it's 22 and snowing, give me baseball. I don't give a damn. I need to see Aaron Nola on the bump. I need to see Bryce Harper up the bat. I need to see Citizens Bank Park. I need to see everything surrounding those pinstripes that are red, and I can't wait for Phillies baseball. We're going to have some fun for Phillies baseball this year, and we are going to have some really great, entertaining shows for Philly season. Just be prepared. Be prepared. So I'm going to say, you're not going to want to miss out on some Phillies pregame shows, on some other Phillies content I'm looking forward to making. Just throwing it out there. Did I get a new email? Oh, no, I didn't. Always got to keep up with this stuff. Nothing like the smell of cheesesteaks and beer while watching a Phillies game. Hey, you're not wrong. Overpriced beer. Spending $10 for an IPA can. That's about yay big. Finish it within a half an inning. Try and go get another one. It's what it's all about, man. It's what it's all about. Overpriced beers. Love a nice cold IPA, though, watching a baseball game. For some reason, when I go to the Wells Fargo Center, when I go to Citizens Bank Park, I always get sucked into the, what is the actual, it's a very standard IPA, but I always get the green, man, it's escaping me. I drink all IPAs, but yeah, I always get sucked into the IPA when I go to these games. Your video on Philly signing Bryce Harper is the best vid on YouTube. I don't even remember. Good morning, Seth. Thank you for joining. I don't even remember what I did. I do remember rushing home to scream about it, but I'm going to honestly, Philly, I'm going to search it. Brodes signs Bryce Harper as if I made the move. Bryce Harper signs with the Phillies, 15 exclamation points. 13 years, 330. No opt-outs, 5,000 exclamation points. This is so funny. I wish I could play. I tried playing it on the screen. I got the Sixers song playing in the beginning. It's amazing. I start crying. Now I think I can share my screen without the audio actually playing. So why don't I try and do this? So I won't be able to see I don't think. Hold on, I'm trying something here. Can I share the screen? I don't know if you guys can see this or not. Oh, hold on. I will be able to tell if you can see it or not. Oh, maybe not. All right. I don't think we can make it work, unfortunately. Oh, wait. Nope. You guys did see it. You guys did see it. Anyway, regardless. Oh, you guys did see it. All right. Well, then maybe we'll try it again. All right. Give me one more. I'll give you one more shot here at watching this bad boy. Here we go. Look at this. Look at this. Look at these moves. That's back in the old studio. That is someone who is hyped up about Bryce Harper. Look at that. Now look at that execution. That is what I'm talking about. Let me get to the cry. Oh. Good times. I'll tell you what, that's good times. Oh, that is beautiful. Oh, that's cool how that... I'm looking at my screen now to see how it displays when I actually share the screen. That's comedy. Yeah, no hair. I can't do the no hair thing. We got to keep the hair going. Everyone can dance like that. All right. So, yeah, those were the dance moves for Bryce Harper. Clean cut and clean shaved. Yeah, I don't like that. I'm not a big fan of that. We got to keep the greasiness going. We got to look like we're from the 70s, look like a hippie. It's all about that lifestyle. It doesn't scream Brodes. No hair doesn't scream Brodes. You gotta be kind of look like a jagoff. That's kind of the way I describe it. So where are we? How do we get back on track a little bit? I will admit that I got a little sidetracked there with watching the Philadelphia Phillies dancing video. So there is a little bit of me that needs to get back on track here. Do you plan on going to any Phillies games and catching a Harper bomb? So yes, I do plan on going to some Phillies games this year. I don't know right away. I got to figure some things out because I have a lot of content planned for what we are going to do with the channel and doing some Phillies pregame shows and things of that nature. But yes, I do feel like I will be going to some Phillies games this year and getting going. No, I have not gotten my vaccine. I don't know if that is you have to have a vaccine to get into games. If so, looks like I'm not going to any games because I do not have one. I'm a hardcore DC fan. Your content is good, man. Thank you, Seth. I really do appreciate all the support. We are going to be seeing a lot of each other, I would imagine, as our teams are going to be battling very, very soon. I'm not a big baseball guy, but going to games live are so much more fun to watch than watching on TV. I actually thoroughly enjoy watching on TV. See, the thing is, if you're not a baseball fan, I almost feel like watching it on TV would be better for you, and here's why. You learn more of the game. Now, I understand the experience of going to Citizens Bank Park is more entertaining than sitting on your couch and just staring at the baseball game. But if you're not a big baseball guy and you're like trying to learn and educate yourself about the game, well, hearing the replays and seeing the replays, hearing the broadcast, learning the pitches, knowing what Aaron Nola's repertoire is and seeing his versatility and just hearing about how the game is being played and studying it from that way might be better to you so you can maybe get more knowledge of what's actually happening if you're not a big baseball person. But going to the game, like if you're going to the game and you're not a big baseball person, I don't know how entertaining it is. Like I never understood that. My fiance thinks baseball is boring, but she loves going to Citizens Bank Park. And that kind of confuses me because the game there, if you're not big into the game of baseball, going to the game, you're just enjoying the atmosphere more than going to the game. But if you don't, it's a 4-hour session of just sitting there. At some point, enjoying the atmosphere, I would imagine, dwindles down. By hour 3, and it's inning 7, You're not enjoying the atmosphere anymore. You're probably thinking, when the fuck is this game going to end? I need to go home. So how much do you really enjoy sitting there is my point, you know? That's kind of where I'm at with it. Horrible fiance saying baseball is boring. You can't say that. She's a phenomenal fiance. Most people think baseball is boring, I would imagine. She likes sports. She's more of a basketball type of person. She likes basketball. She has gotten more into the Eagles since the Super Bowl, but I would imagine on her list, baseball is fourth. She thinks it's boring, especially if we go places. She likes to listen to country. But when we go places and it's like, hey, the Phillies start at 1, we got to run out somewhere. I got to put the Phils on, or I got to, hey, make sure if we got to run, go get dog food or go do something, go to Walgreens, whatever. Hey, we got to throw the Phils on in the car so I can hear it. She goes, oh, we got to put the Phils on. There's nothing worse to her than Phillies on the radio. 0-2 pitch. Outside. And she looks at me like, really? We got to do this? We can't put on Keith Urban? I'm at work. What do you want me to do? You want the mortgage to be paid? You want to keep the lights on? You want a hot shower? 0-1 pitch. Inside. That's what I thought. I know. I try saying the same thing. Phillies on the radio is soothing. She doesn't understand. It's like music to my ears. It's outstanding. It's the greatest. It really is. Is your man cave soundproof so your fiance doesn't hear you yelling? Yeah, so pretty much minor here. She can minorly hear it only if she's up here. So she works on the other side of the house where the kitchen area is and her office is. Where I'm at is I'm underneath the bedroom. So it's funny. I do a lot of my screaming at night when she's normally in bed. But where I am tiny here, but not enough where you can actually make out what I'm saying. Jesse, this is good. I know the look you're talking about. When I told my girlfriend the Phillies start Thursday, you can see the pain in the face. She knows I got to be locked in on every pitch, or she knows got to be locked in. Okay, I didn't know if you were saying she's got to be locked in on every pitch as well. What I'll do sometimes to sacrifice is if it's only a Phillies game that night and there's not other things going on where I need 3 televisions and it's only the Phillies playing, I will go with the philosophy of I'll get out my MacBook, I'll sit on the couch, we'll watch something together in the living room on our actual family room, living room TV, and then I'll watch the Phillies game on my laptop with one earphone in, just so it's like, hey, I'll compromise. I know it's been 5-6 nights straight of being heavily dissected into work down in the basement. I'll show my face upstairs. Let's watch something, and I'll watch the Phils on my laptop with an earphone in or something. Just, look, you got to make some sacrifices here, right? Got to make some sacrifices. Got to give a little, get a little. You know what I'm saying? Brodes, can we see the man cave? Right now, it's hard because I'm using my actual video camera. I can't just hey, let me plop this thing up and go. It's connected to the computer and all. But one day I will have a little vlog or so of the man cave, of the house, now that we've been here for almost a year now. It's crazy. June 30th would be a full year into our home together. And yeah, I will I'll definitely think about doing a little vlog on the setup. Nolan, yes, I do. Bro, do you think the MLB has an issue with this new generation having short attention spans? The game's getting longer and longer. Yeah, my problem with this is it's crazy. So my first weekend on the Fanatic, Jason Martinez was before me. He was on from, I think it was noon to 3, and I was 3 to 6. And he ended the show talking about how baseball needs to speed up the game. And that just ticked me off. And I was like, I didn't plan on this conversation happening, but I dove right into it when I got onto my show. I don't if you don't like baseball because it's 4 hours, you're not going to like baseball because it's 3 hours and 35 minutes. You don't like baseball. You don't like the sport. You're not going to chip away enough time where the people that don't like a 4-hour game are now all of a sudden going to like a 3-hour and 37-minute baseball game. You're still going to bitch and complain that the game is too long. So you either like the sport or you don't like the sport. I'm not changing my game for people who are not going to like it regardless. So do you need to have some sort of changes in sports? Yes, there are plenty of examples on changes that have benefited the sport, sort of like the two-line pass in hockey and things of that nature, where you make an adjustment because you need to make a change. You have to adapt with the times. There is something to be said about that. Baseball is a timeless sport, and you can't cross that line of change. And if a game's 3 hours and 47 minutes, if it's 3 hours and 30 minutes, you aren't automatically now going to love the game of baseball. You are now not going to say, you know what? I love this game. It's 17 minutes shorter because of the pitch clock. Stop it. Stop it. So that's not the best way to do it, in my opinion. That's just silly. Brodes, where did you go to college? I went to Rowan, and I graduated with a sports communications and media degree. So that's where I went to school. I graduated from Rowan, and I loved it there. I had a great time there. Heard you for the first time on the radio yesterday and was like, holy crap, that's Brodes. Great job. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm having a really fun time on the station. A lot of callers going back and forth. It's just been really fun so far in the last 2 weekends. So I'm looking forward to it. As I mentioned earlier, I am on next weekend as well, Saturday and Sunday. So it's going to be another fun weekend. That's kind of what I'm expecting. Let's hear your prediction for the Phillies relief pitcher of the year, Jose Alvarado. I think Jose Alvarado is going to be your relief pitcher of the year. I really do. I really do. He throws gas. He is a stud. The thing I never thought about, though, if Jose Alvarado gets hurt, you have no lefties out of the pen. No lefties out of the pen. Yeah, he has 100-mile-per-hour off-speed. He's got 100-mile-per-hour off-speed pitches. You know, like a sinker is what it is. But, I mean, it's insane. It's insane. It's insane. It's insane. It's insane. It's insane. 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 What station? 97.5 The Fanatic. Gabriel, what's with the purple today? Just a mood. Just a mood, to be honest with you. Just a mood. What happened to Pat Neshek? He stinks. Did you see the Minnesota game went to fifth overtime? I did. I didn't realize that Minnesota... No, it wasn't Minnesota Duluth. Who did they play? Was it Minnesota Duluth? It might have been. They got a win because Michigan couldn't play in the tournament. So now they're going to the Frozen Four, and they didn't even play the first game in the tourney. That's pretty damn wild. I do have a buddy, though. One of my teammates, he's a fucking awesome dude, man. I'll tell you what. He's playing in the Frozen Four this year. He's the assistant captain for St. Cloud. So I'm pretty pumped up to see him play. I honestly forgot he was still there. I thought he graduated last year, but I saw a Snapchat picture, and he was going hype. So I'm really excited. It just adds another element to watch the Frozen Four. So I'm pretty excited to watch St. Cloud State. So I will be rooting for St. Cloud, as one of my former teammates is the assistant captain. So I hope they get the job done. Really pulling for him. Did I see Alabama, UCLA? I did. That three-pointer at the end was nuts. He shot it from the damn logo. Ridiculous. But then UCLA just took it by storm in overtime, which kind of killed the mood of what March Madness was all about. And then don't even get me started with that USC-Oregon game. That was a dud. I got so excited because I got home in time to finally watch a little bit of college hoops, and that's the game I fully got to sit down and watch, and it was garbage. It was seriously unwatchable to the point where I had to go in another direction. Brodes, do the Braves win the division this year? Yes. Yes, they do. They win the division this year. I think that they are by far the best team in this division. No matter what Mets fans want to say, no matter what maybe Nationals fans want to say, I don't know. But I do know that the Braves are nasty as hell. I do know that I can't wait to watch Ian Anderson pitch every single time he starts. And they just have a nasty lineup. So, yeah, I'm going with the Braves are winning this division. USC is going to scare Gonzaga. That's what everyone's saying. That is the hot take of the day. There are a lot of individuals going with you better watch out for USC. They can take down Gonzaga. USC is a nice team, and as you get down to the Elite Eight, there's a reason why you're this far, because you're a good team. Gonzaga's nasty, though. Gonzaga's nasty. That's all I'm trying to say. Be careful what you say. What games do we have today? 7:15, Houston, Oregon State, and Baylor, Arkansas. Yeah, that one was close, that Arkansas game against Oral Roberts. You almost had a situation where Oral Roberts, they can ball, man. Like, this is my thing with the whole, because it was a hot conversation during the first couple rounds of, do you like the upset? And I don't like the upset if the team is just going to get annihilated the next round. To me, that's foolish. I like the Oral Roberts type of upset, though, where the team actually goes on a ride because they're a nice squad. I like the upset when the team, like a team wins in the first round. If you get blown out by 35 the next game, it's, come on, really? Like, that sucks. I don't want to see that. And I understand the principle of not liking upsets. Later on, I want to see the better teams in there. I want to see 1s and 2s and 3s battling out in the final rounds of the tournament. So I want to see the best go out there and compete. I don't want to see a Michigan get bounced in the first round. I want to see a Michigan in the Elite Eight, in the Final Four, in the national championship. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see those teams get bounced. But where I like the upset is the Oral Roberts, not the Loyola of Chicago this year, because they are actually looked at as a serious contender that ended up falling earlier than maybe anticipated. They had a dud of a game, but Loyola of Chicago, the year they went to the Final Four, that's the style of upset that I like, where they actually go on a little bit of a ride, more so than the one game and done. I wouldn't say that's the same thing as the 8th place Kings winning the Cup, because in hockey, you get in, it's a different ride. And there's a big difference between Oral Roberts and the Los Angeles Kings in the playoffs, right? Like, professionals as an 8th seed compared to the tiny, tiny school that plays in a conference that people don't even know about. No one even knew the school Oral Roberts. Everyone knows the Los Angeles Kings. So there's a little bit difference. Like, I don't even classify that. There's really no upsets in hockey, because you get in, it's just a different ride, man. It's just about being hot at the right time, more so than being a good team or not. You know what I'm saying? Way too many blowouts caused by too many upsets. Way too many blowouts caused. Yeah, depending. But this year's, are you talking about specifically this year, or are you just staying hypothetically as well? Or what did I just say? Did I even make sense right there? I don't even know. What the hell just came out of my mouth? Like, you don't enjoy the difference between UMBC beating Virginia is different. That was the first time we saw a 1 beat a 16. That is like in its own different class. That is in its own different category, because it was such a big part of history that one hits differently. I don't want to see that often. I think it's cool that it happened. And yeah, UMBC ended up not making it past that next round, obviously, but that is in its, and it also tells the story of what happens last year, which I don't even know. With all the awesome storylines that we have in sports, I think that Virginia story is probably the last on the list of great stories when it shouldn't. And maybe it's just because of it's Virginia college basketball. Where does that stand compared to actual professional sports? But you lost as a 1 seed to the 16, first time ever in the history of the tournament. And then you go out and win the national championship the following year. No one talks about that ever. Ever. Like, that is one of the stories that just slides under the radar, as if that's not one of the most historic seasons and historic stories ever in the history of all of sports. Maybe it's just because it's college basketball and it doesn't pop as much. Is it a product of college basketball dying out and not being as entertaining to some? I don't know. I don't know what it is. I mean, March Madness is always entertaining. The regular season might be a dying breed, and that personal tie to the players that play 4 years might be a dying breed. But March Madness, I don't think, is a dying breed, especially with all the sports betting and how much people dive deep into their DraftKings Sportsbook. And by the way, you should download that DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use promo code Brodes when you sign up for all the fantastic odds and promotions boost. Just saying. Just throwing it out there. Yeah, Virginia did lose to the 13th seed. They are a very up and down emotional ride type of squad. There's no doubt about that. Maybe because it sounds like a scripted story. I mean, the St. Louis Blues went from the worst placed team in the regular season to going to win a Stanley Cup. I mean, you can make that as a made up story. Hey, you struggled halfway through your season and then you pulled your head out of your ass and you went on this beautiful ride and won the Stanley Cup. 40 to 50% chance of getting a top 4 wide receiver for the Birds. I'm okay with the trade, Fran. I firmly believe that the trade was a good trade. I think it will be appreciated more next year. It won't get appreciated now, but when they do what they do next season, whether it's package everything up and go out and get their quarterback, this is what I think they're going to do. I think they are going to do one of two things. Option one, Jalen Hurts plays out the season. They like what they see out of Jalen Hurts. They like what they see out of Nick Sirianni, and they use these 3 first-round picks or their 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks, and they build with young talent. And they say, we don't have young talent. We need young talent. They made it clear. They went for the Super Bowl. They realized the whole let's go get veterans didn't work out, and now they need to establish this new identity. Let's attack with all these picks, these 20 picks we have in the next 2 years. Let's pile them up, and let's go get young, cheap talent, and let's build this thing within, and let's attack it that way. Or, considering they tried to move up for Zach Wilson, there is this mentality of we need to go get a quarterback. They let this season play out with Jalen Hurts. If it isn't what they want out of Jalen Hurts, they're not going to be drafting low into the first round. It'll be a high pick in the first round, which would benefit them. They compile pieces. They go out and get the hot quarterback of that draft, and they use those pieces to go get that flashy new toy, just like they did with Carson Wentz, where they maneuvered through the draft, and they got exactly where they wanted. So it's one of 2 options the way I see it. Does the trade save Howie for another year? Yeah. Okay, let's put it this way. This is how I see Howie Roseman's tenure. And I know people don't want to hear this, but it's evident that Jeffrey Lurie is giving Howie Roseman the opportunity to fix this thing. There's no way that you fix this thing within 1 year. 1 year, you don't draft a draft class, and then in 1 year, it's magic and everything works out perfectly. You might have to see some sort of promise. It can't be J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. It needs to be at least something that you can hold your hat on and say, hey, look at the progress that we are making. It's got to be something. It can't be J.J. But it's impossible to say, I'm going to give you the opportunity to fix this and then give him 1 season to do it when it takes, we say it all the time, you don't know what a draft class is until 3 years in. You have to give them time to actually become something. So it can't be J-Jaw level. It's got to be something that at least leaves you optimistic. But I would imagine it's more than 1 year. I would say that if Jeffrey Lurie is giving Howie Roseman the opportunity, which it seems that is the case, he has these 20 picks in the next 2 years to rebuild this thing. That's what I would say is logical. Is he has 20 picks, 2 years. Howie, show me signs of progress. Now, there has to be some sort of signs after the first year, too. It can't be a disaster. But everyone who wants, if you sit here and analyze the roster, we all agree the roster's not good. So if we say the roster's not good, how do you demand Howie Roseman to sit in the GM chair and automatically have a 9-win season? It's not going to happen. The talent's not there. So we are anticipating a bad season. So I'm sure Lurie's going into this anticipating not the best season in the world. So the results, if it's a bad season, you kind of know it's going to be a bad season going into this rebuild with Howie Roseman. So you can't use that against him to be fired if you know it's going to happen prior to the season beginning. So I would imagine it would be something along the lines of, you got these 20 picks, you got these 2 years. What do you got for me, Howie? And from there, you make the decision after that. That's at least how I would analyze it. That's the way I see it. If you are giving Howie the chance, which they are giving Howie the chance, my question is, are they going to be influenced by the fan base booing and screaming and going nuts? Because it's only going to intensify by 3 billion considering the fans in the stands. And that's reality. So, all righty. With that being said, I'll leave this here because this is funny. I saw something on Twitter this weekend saying Mike Scott to Doc Rivers is how Neto is to Brett Brown. So my point on this is everyone bitches and complains about a player that a coach plays. Every coach in every city in the NBA it just shows you that the overreaction to Howie Neto to Brett Brown is laughable. Every coach plays a bench player that a fan base doesn't like. Everyone loves Doc Rivers, but they are okay with Mike Scott because, it's Doc Rivers making the decision. When Howie Neto was playing with Brett Brown due to not having as many weapons or having to pick someone to play because you didn't have many options, it's, Brett Brown's such a fucking idiot. I can't believe this guy plays Howie Neto. But Doc Rivers does. It's someone you it's the same thing with Howie and Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey says something and makes a move. It's the greatest move in the world. Howie Roseman makes a phenomenal move, but it's Howie Roseman. It's a bad move. So that's where I'm at there. All right. With that being said, thank you for hanging out. Coffee with Brodes. See you guys tomorrow. One day closer to Phillies baseball. Thank you guys so much.